Low, low, low. We back at it again. Just wanted to come on here, speak with you all about making sure that we build up this generation that's coming. Spoke on it a little bit before already. It's the alpha generation that is being birthed and being brought up at the moment. But I'll be honest. We need to make sure that no matter if it's the alpha, it's the generation that's before that, you know, or the generation after that. It doesn't matter. We need to make sure that we build them up correctly. Allow every child to properly have the proper foundation in the home. Allow every person to make sure that we all keep that state of mind on an up and up. We need to make sure that we're there for our young kings, our young queens. We need to make sure that we are not just there in the sense of a body, but interacting with our children and being there, making sure that we give them the nourishment that they need when they hear something crazy going to these schools. Don't matter if it's public, charter, you know what I mean? It does not matter. Children are how children are. And let's be honest, we all was kids before. It was something of a rush to want to learn how to curse, say this, say that, learn new toys or tricks and flips and moves and games and just being a child. But at the same time, learn how. Listen to how I went over that cursing. We naturally all learn cursing, like a first to second language type of stuff, before we actually fully understood inside wise how to communicate properly in the English language term. And a lot of us either fall victim to that or we're falling victim to leaving that child in front of a TV, in front of a phone, a computer, a tablet. And they're okay. They're fine. While you what? Go be a grown adult somewhere else while that child is now learning from that system, from that mechanism, from that other type of hierarchy that it doesn't have God. It doesn't have mom or dad. It just has the substance. And that substance can be filled with the tablet, like I said, with the phone, the computer. You know, these kids are down there on platforms, social media platforms, and most adults, you know. But this is why we got to make sure that we keep a close eye on what our children are digesting. And I'm not talking about inwardly, as in through your mouth, not through your nasal cavity. I'm talking about through your earways and through your eyes. That what windows to the soul. If we go ahead and sacrifice our children's childhood by allowing any and everything to be seen and digested by our children, we're in for a rude awakening come 10 years later. And that could be your child could be 6, 7, under 10. And then 10 years later, they're in their teens. Now that 6, 7 year old that was so easily able to go to that platform is now doing exactly that when it's time to have those concerning conversations, these proper conversations where it needs to be said like, hey, in case you see anything that you don't approve of or whatever, you speak to an adult. If I'm not there and you're at school, you speak to an adult. Oh, if you're over here trying your best to be that parent that has to work these one, two, man, maybe three jobs to go ahead and provide for your child, but then your child is now being raised by everything and anything else that is not truly you. That's why I feel like a lot of us, and this is my opinion, maybe a lot of us need to just go ahead and truthfully, truthfully just go ahead and get ourselves properly in the right type of state of mind that will allow you to truly dig deep down and find out, figure out truly what you want to do with life. So that way now you can act on where you really want to go with your life. So that way you can be there more so for your child instead of letting the system, society, deem was fit and was suitable for your child. Who knows your child more? Hopefully the parent. Not the parent, then for sure God does. But God is supposed to be working through you as the parent to now be there for the child. Because no matter what, that innocence is still on your hands if you let the child just stay there watching inappropriate things. Letting your child be desensitized by drugs, the viewing of drugs being used, and then the viewing of killing being done, torture, anything that's against just the mental state of mind that most children really aren't supposed to even go towards. Like, why does this child want to watch Boys in the Hood? Why do they want to go over there and sit and watch some of these movies that were about our struggling times and everything? That, of course, what was trying to paint a picture to the times that it used to be. Most of us down there grew up on a lot of that stuff. Are we any better? Honestly, parents, are we any better? So, as being a parent that wants to try to do better for the children, we should try to go ahead and make sure, to the best of our abilities, that we don't set our own children up for that lane, that extra nonsense of a path that they don't need to take. We got to be physically more hands on and give them all that nurturing love, but also that discipline. I'm speaking to our ladies and men because it is some ladies that are raising young men. Then there are some men that are raising young ladies. And shout out to my fellas out there, that is trying to make it work and trying to make it happen. You know, at the end of the day, God seen what was suited and was best, and we're going to all get there to that land. But we got to put in the work. Like how you want to put in that work to get them baby hair slicked and laid down, put in that work for that child. To actually want to sit. When you say sit, let's learn. And when you say lay down, it's time to lay down. They actually want to lay down. Don't be worried about your cosmetics. That's what you pay that beautician. That's what you pay all these other friends and people that you interact with. They'll be all right. You'll be all right. That child needs you, though. We got to cut ourselves out of the mundane world's usual motion and get back over here to pouring back into our kids, back into the family, making sure the family is good. And that family doesn't have to be the relatives that done you wrong or any other criticizing elders We have those too. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about the supportive. And I'm not talking about the ones that want to you just drop your child off with, and then that's just that, and then they do the same thing that they was doing to you while you was being raised. No, we're talking about the ones that actually want to sit there and help teach and learn to that child. That want to, hey, let's color a book. Hey, let's learn how to do this. Let's learn how to do that. These children are ready and eager and able to soak up any and everything that we want to teach them. And these are the learning stages. That first, I want to say about 1 to 10, man, they're learning so much, so much. But we cannot let them fall through the cracks. We cannot let our parenting be wavered as such that is just, I'm just here. No. Your child is being loud and being argumentative. You need to bring that child to you, give them a deep down hug, and then speak to your child. Now listen to your child. I don't know what some of these parents are really on and doing. I just hope that for the sake that we all catch on to it, because these children are really just the next generation, and we want to make sure that we be there for them, because hearing about children that don't have anybody is just, it's crazy, but life is how life is. But how did you feel when that parent didn't make it? That guardian didn't show up? That person in your life that you felt was the anchor didn't come through, didn't fall through? Don't be that world to that child and then let that child down. Don't be the world to the child and let the child down. So we got to make sure that we have these children ready also to not be slaves. Yeah, I mean it exactly how I said it, to not be slaves. Because once they get out of schooling, as in preschool, regular school, public, and all that, allow your child to now divulge back into the whole state of mind of, man, I like to draw rainbows, or I like to draw a beautiful sky with a sunset, and just let their imaginations wander and go. Your child likes to do artwork. Why don't you give your child a canvas to work on? You will naturally be able to figure out what kind of child you have if you truly pay attention. For me, for example, my children actually want to learn. That's just naturally just them. They want to learn new things. Like if I tell them about something new that they haven't already learned knew about, one, they got a smart mouth like me. They quick to say, "No, Dad, I knew that already." Oh yeah. Then I hit them with some facts that they didn't know, and they be like, "Huh? Like what's wrong? I didn't know that." Well, that's part of knowing that you didn't. They go together. Oh, really be having mind intrigue. But that's me and my children's connection. I know you parents, I know you see it. And I know you down there want to beat yourself up about it, but don't. Don't. Just the next day, do better each and every day. I know a lot of us, we start off the new year and be like, oh man, this year I'm going to go ahead and do this for myself, that for myself. If you have a child that is 5 years old or older, you should not be talking about, man, I'm going to do this and that for myself. What? Don't you have a child? Because just like how it is when most people, not everybody wants to, when most people want to go ahead and get married, they have to what? Leave their mother and father behind and take up what? Their spouse. Boom. This is my concern now. So when some of us are having our children, and yes, it is still happening out of wedlock, we need to go ahead and make sure that we don't forget our children should be there, not us. Our children should get the attention. Like, man, this year my child is gonna be acing at English, and I'm just saying something, just some basic. What do you mean by English? Reading. Most kids kind of pick it up. Some kids don't. They kind of stumble on it. Some kids are really good at math. Most kids might stumble a little bit. Find out what your child is struggling at and then work on it with your child. Let that be the motivational builder between you two. Now you two have a natural connection. I'm here for the family reuniting and involvement. I'm here to make sure that us parents and this generation that it is, that are adults, truly understand that our children are waiting on us. What happened? Most of us be like, man, God, I'm waiting on the sign, I'm waiting on this, I'm waiting on that. Okay, but our children are now looking at us and waiting on us. Oh, Dad, you had said, if we waited a little bit longer, I'm waiting. Oh, Dad, you said if we could do this and that, are we still going to? Just like how we want that from God, our children want that from us. God is going to do it on his divine timing, which is on time every time. But what about your timing? We cannot forget to build up our children in a way that we see truly fit for this type of world that we're in at the moment. And I say at the moment because it's a lot of things going on. We have no control over, but we just got to make sure that we allow our children not to be slaves to the system. A generation that will naturally want to open up their minds, come up with new ways for humanity to prosper. Let's say that. Let's say half of us might have humanitarian children as it is. Your child wants to do any and everything for everyone else. They don't want nothing for themselves. Truly selfless as a child. But will you continue to nurture that selfless way? Or will you then thus be like, well, I try to tell them not to be letting everybody touch or get their stuff and not to share all the time. It's fine for a child to share. It's some of these other kids that don't know how to share that ask a child naturally narcissistic ways that if we let it go, it will come back to get us. Natural narcissistic ways. That's why I say we have to do this with our children so that way our children can truly be better than what we were. Truly. And just making sure that we help our children also speak up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm against a child that is disrespectful in a sense. Like if I'm speaking to another adult and everything, it's fine if you want to go ahead and ask me a question, but it is disrespectful if you're yelling that question at me. It's fine if you want to have a conversation with dad, but if you honestly want to start to throw a temper tantrum, it's like, no, we're not doing any of that. We're communicating, and I truly pour that into mine. I don't not forcing nothing on no one else. all my opinion. But I do feel somewhere in there we need to let our children know that it's okay for them to speak up and be in their living truth, which is if you dislike how someone went ahead and, let's say, took a crayon that was a blue color and everything, you need to be able to have your child naturally understand that they could come to you and be like, "What's tell me what's wrong. Explain to me how you feel." Okay, I feel upset because I usually like this blue. I always start off with this blue, but then now this other kid took this blue, and then I didn't feel right starting it. I tried to start somewhere else, and it made it look ugly, and I kept messing up, and it could easily be just that. And you could be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna make sure I get you some more all set color blues." You'll have 40 different blues to choose from, so where you never have, you know what I mean? We're not finna take it there where, what? Who took my baby stuff? And ooh, we're not about to do that ignorant stuff. We're gonna understand our child, how they truly feel, and understand exactly how we can rectify the situation and let our child see that, yeah, that was small. But we're not about to let it hinder us, are we? No? Okay then. So let's keep going forward. Let's try using yellow today. What's wrong with yellow? Okay. Yeah, let me see. Let me see. Now you got a different creative mindset because they're naturally taking on a different aspect of what they're used to doing. You know? So I love the fact of just being able to have that spare time with all my children and being able to truly learn who they are. Because every time they're with me, I swear I get a whole new my son, my daughter, and my other boys. I get a whole new them. I get a different side of them, you know. And it's quite mind blowing because then you see the child that was in you way back when we was kids that are now in them. And they just want just about the same thing that you wanted. So now being the adult, it's like, okay, I never got an explanation. Let me explain to mine. Yeah, you can't go outside right now. Oh, how come? You said we was. I did say we was. It got a little bit late. I am tired. Can I make it up to you tomorrow? Let's do it tomorrow. Compromise. But you naturally talk to your child, you know. But understand this: your child will hold you to your word. Your child will be the most adamant person that you ever had in your life that will hold you to your word. And that makes you naturally just want to be a better individual, period. Period. I love the fact that my children hold me to my word. Because now dad can never go back on his word. And for me to go back on mine, best believe my daughter, she will come down on me like, Dada, you said we was gonna do this. Now we're not. I don't understand. Okay, daughter, I'm sorry. One, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought we was gonna be able to do it. XYZ, XYZ. I have that time. I have that patience to where I can do that. That's my life naturally. But I feel like a lot of us have such a older being in these children these days to where they're like how our elders look at us like, wait, you said this, now you're doing this. I don't know if I like this, mom. I don't know if I like this, dad. Like, you didn't hold up to your word. Like, literally telling you this as grown little people, you know. But it's a blessing to have someone that is gonna keep you, accountable. It's a blessing to have these solid foundations with our children. So please, please, my generations that are here, please. I say this for the utmost loving kindness heart that I have that have been given to me by God. Build your child up in the proper way that we all truly wanted to be as a child. Allow our children to have the chance of that childhood, that freedom, that just mind blowing, limitless imagination. That after a while we was told, shut up, sit down, be quiet. Another time. Go over those past traumas from your childhood and just double back and do a thought process, you know, a natural, you know, a natural poll. When I was a child, I did this. Am I doing this towards my child now? When I was a child, I was up against that. Am I hindering my child in that way now? You know, that way we could always atone. And yes, I mean atone because why? It's hard to get, the truth out of most adults these days. They'll go ahead and sugarcoat some stuff and say it real quick. But I'm not asking to go bark up that tree in the past of that person that probably didn't want to give you the full 10 or 100 yards type stuff. I just would suggest that we build them up in the best way possible. That is best way suited for each and every child that we have because our children are so different. They're so different. They're mind-blowingly smart. Like, really. Like, put an obstacle in their way. See how fast they overcome it. You might not even see it the same way that you had thought you seen it. And then they did it better. And you'll be like, dang, I didn't even notice that. Like, I appreciate all you. And I am thankful and humble for anyone that was able to listen. And until next time, let's just keep on building up these generations to come. Thank you.